The shadow creature's claws reached toward Maya's throat, its red eyes blazing with final desperation. But Maya did not step back. Instead, she opened her arms wide and sang her mother's lullaby with every ounce of love in her human heart. The creature's claws stopped just inches from her skin. Its entire body began to tremble as Maya's song washed over it like warm sunlight. "Impossible," it whispered. "How can something so simple be so powerful?" Maya smiled, even as tears ran down her face. "Because it's not about power," she said gently. "It's about love, something your kind forgot long ago." The shadow creature staggered backward, its form becoming less solid with each note. We were not always shadows," it said, its voice growing softer. "Once we too had families, children, songs of our own." Maya saw something she never expected to see. The creature was remembering. The red light in its eyes was changing, becoming warmer, more like the blue glow of the Guardians. "What happened to you?" Maya asked, still singing softly. "War," the creature replied sadly. "Endless war consumed our worlds. We chose to become living weapons rather than die as ourselves. We forgot what we were fighting to protect." The creature's form was becoming more transparent. Maya realized that her song was not destroying it. It was freeing it from the darkness that had trapped it for so long. "I remember now," the creature said with wonder. "I remember my daughter's laugh, my mate's gentle touch, the songs we sang together under our purple sky." Above them, the sounds of battle were growing quieter. Maya could feel through her connection that something was changing with the other shadow creatures too. Her song was reaching all of them, carried through the temple by the Guardians who amplified its power. "Forgive us, young keeper," the shadow creature said as it began to fade away. "We became monsters to fight monsters, but you have shown us a better way." The creature dissolved into points of light that swirled around Maya like dancing stars. As the lights touched her, she felt its memories, not the dark years of war and hatred, but the earlier times of joy, love, and peace. Maya understood now. The shadow creatures had not always been evil. They had been people once, driven to darkness by the same wars that had destroyed the keepers. Everyone had forgotten that love was stronger than hatred. The temple stopped shaking. The sounds of battle faded away. Maya felt a great peace settling over the ancient building as the last of the shadow creatures remembered who they used to be and chose to let go of their anger. Maya climbed back up the spiral staircase, followed by her guardians. When she reached the main chamber, she found a sight that took her breath away. The Guardians stood in perfect formation, but they were different now. Their stone bodies had been transformed. Where once they had been gray and cold, now they glowed with warm golden light. Their eyes were no longer just blue. They held all the colors of sunrise. "The shadow creatures," Maya said to the memory keeper. "What happened to them?" "They chose peace," the electronic voice replied with amazement. "Your song reminded them of who they were before the wars began. They released their anger and returned to the cosmic flow. They are free now." Maya walked through her transformed guardians. They bowed as she passed, but it was not the formal bow of servants to a master. It was the respectful greeting between friends and family. "What happens now?" Maya asked. "Now you must choose," the memory keeper said. "You have proven yourself worthy to be the new keeper of this temple. You could stay here and guard the ancient knowledge, or you could do something no keeper ever did. You could take this knowledge back to your people. You could teach other humans to sing the ancient songs. You could help humanity become the galaxy's new protectors." Maya looked at her guardians, then at the symbols on the walls that she could now read perfectly. She thought about all the ancient secrets hidden in this place. Then she thought about Earth, about her mother, about all the humans who had no idea they carried keeper blood in their veins. "I choose both," Maya said firmly. "I'll stay long enough to learn everything. Then I'll return to Earth and bring others back here. Humans and keepers working together, we'll be stronger than either race ever was alone." The memory keeper's voice carried a sound like gentle laughter, spoken like a true human, always finding the third option when given only two choices. Maya smiled and placed her hand on the wall, covered in ancient symbols. Information flowed into her mind, star maps, histories, technologies, songs that could heal worlds or move mountains. She would need months to learn it all, but she was not alone. Her guardians would teach her. The memory keeper would guide her, and when she was ready, she would return to Earth with the greatest discovery in human history. 3 months later, Maya stood in the same spot where she had first hummed her mother's lullaby. But everything was different now. She wore robes that shifted color like aurora lights. Her eyes held the same warm glow as her guardians. Ancient knowledge filled her mind, but her human heart remained unchanged. The temple's communication array activated. Maya's message traveled across space at the speed of thought, reaching Earth in an instant. "This is Maya Chen calling Earth Command," she said. "I have made contact with an ancient civilization. We are not alone in the universe, and we never were. I am sending coordinates for a peaceful meeting. Bring musicians, teachers, families. Bring people who understand that the strongest force in the galaxy is love." She paused, thinking of her mother who had taught her the lullaby that changed everything. "And bring children," Maya added with a smile. "The Guardians are eager to learn new songs." As Maya waited for Earth's response, she hummed the familiar melody that had started her adventure. Around her, hundreds of Guardians hummed along in harmony. The sound echoed through the temple and out into space, carrying a message of hope to any who might hear it. The age of the Keepers was over. The time of the shadows had ended. The age of humanity among the stars was just beginning. Maya looked up at the temple ceiling, painted with constellations she now knew by name. Somewhere out there were other ancient sites, other sleeping Guardians, other secrets waiting to be discovered. But for now, she was content to stand in this sacred place and sing the songs that connected past and future, earth and stars, love and hope. Her mother's lullaby had awakened more than just stone Guardians. It had awakened humanity's true destiny. A crack ran up the temple wall like lightning frozen in stone. Maya felt the floor vibrate under her feet as something massive moved far below. The sound was getting louder, angrier, more desperate to break free. "How many shadow creatures are down there?" Maya asked, gripping her light weapon tighter. 57, the memory keeper replied. "The last survivors of their kind. We captured them when they destroyed our final world. They have been waiting 1,000 years for revenge." The tall Guardian moved to Maya's side and placed a heavy stone hand on her shoulder. Through their connection, she felt its thoughts, determination, loyalty, fear. Even the Guardians were afraid. "Show me the way to the prison levels," Maya said. Her voice was stronger now, filled with the authority she had earned through the tests. "Are you certain?" the memory keeper asked. "Once you go down there will be no running away. The shadows will sense your keeper blood. They will do anything to destroy you." Another crack appeared in the wall. This time Maya saw something seeping through the stone. It looked like black smoke, but it moved with purpose, reaching toward her like grasping fingers. "They're already breaking through," Maya said. "If I wait any longer, they'll be too strong to stop." The Guardians around her began to move. 20 of the strongest stepped forward, forming a protective circle. Their eyes blazed brighter as they prepared for battle. Maya raised her weapon and sang a single clear note. The sound echoed through the temple, and every Guardian in the building responded. She could feel hundreds of stone warriors moving through the halls, converging on their location. "We go down together," Maya declared. The floor in the center of the chamber began to glow. Ancient mechanisms activated, revealing a spiral staircase that descended into darkness. Cool air rushed up from below, carrying with it the smell of decay and something else. Pure hatred. Maya led her Guardians down the stairs. With each step, the temperature dropped and the darkness grew thicker. Her light weapon began to glow brighter, pushing back the shadows that seemed to reach for her from every corner. The staircase went down for what felt like miles. Maya's connection to the Guardians helped her stay calm, but she could feel their growing unease. They remembered this place. They had fought here before. Finally, they reached the bottom. Maya found herself in a vast underground chamber carved from black rock. The ceiling disappeared into darkness above them. Along the walls stood dozens of prison cells, each one sealed with bars made of pure light. Most of the cells were empty now. The light bars flickered weakly, failing after centuries of holding back the darkness within. But in the center of the chamber, Maya saw something that made her blood freeze. The largest prison cell still held its occupant. Behind failing light bars, a massive shadow creature paced back and forth. It was 12 feet tall and seemed to be made of living darkness. Where its eyes should be, two red points of light burned with ancient fury. When it saw Maya, it stopped moving and stared directly at her. "Keeper," it said in a voice like grinding stone. "I smell the old blood in you. I taste your fear." Maya tried to answer, but her throat felt dry. The shadow creature's presence filled the chamber with cold malice. "You are weak," the creature continued. "Not like the true keepers who imprisoned us. You are diluted, mixed with lesser blood." The light bars of its prison flickered and dimmed. Cracks appeared in the energy, spreading like spider webs. "My brothers and sisters are already free," the shadow said with satisfaction. "They hunt in the upper levels now, growing stronger with each moment. Soon I will join them, and we will finish what we started." Maya heard distant sounds echoing down the staircase. Crashes, the sound of stone breaking, battle cries from her guardians above. "The other shadows have escaped." The Memory Keeper's voice came through the temple's communication system. "They are attacking the guardians on every level. You must act quickly." Maya looked around the chamber and realized her mistake. She had come down here thinking she would face 57 shadow creatures together. Instead, she had walked into a trap. Most of them were already free and fighting her forces above, while she was trapped below with their leader. The massive shadow creature laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Did you think we had learned nothing in our imprisonment?" it mocked. "We heard your song, Keeper Child. We felt our bonds weakening. We have been preparing." The light bars of its prison failed completely. They flickered once and disappeared. The shadow creature stepped out of its cell, growing larger as it moved. Its form shifted and changed, becoming more solid, more threatening. The red points of its eyes blazed brighter. "Now," it said, raising arms made of pure darkness, "you will pay for the crimes of your ancestors." Maya's guardians immediately formed a protective wall between her and the creature. They raised their weapons and prepared to fight. But Maya could sense their fear. This thing had destroyed entire Keeper worlds. What could stone warriors do against such power? The shadow creature attacked without warning. It moved faster than Maya thought possible, flowing like liquid darkness around the guardians' defenses. Its touch turned stone to dust. 3 guardians crumbled before they could even swing their weapons. Maya sang out in alarm, her voice carrying power and command. The remaining guardians fought back with renewed strength, but the shadow creature was too fast, too strong. "You cannot win with force alone," the Memory Keeper's voice whispered urgently in Maya's mind. The shadows feed on fear and hatred. They grow stronger when fought with anger. Maya watched in horror as more guardians fell to the creature's attacks. She realized that traditional fighting would not work here. She needed to think like a human, not like a keeper. Then she remembered something. Her mother's lullaby had awakened the guardians because it carried love, not command. It held the memory of comfort, safety, family bonds. The shadow creatures had destroyed the keepers because they fought with duty and logic. But Maya had something the ancient keepers had never possessed. She had human heart. Maya stepped forward past her protective guardians. The shadow creature turned toward her, its red eyes burning with anticipation. "Come then, little keeper," it hissed. "Let me finish what we started so long ago." Instead of raising her weapon, Maya began to sing, not a war song or a command, but her mother's lullaby. The same gentle melody that had started this entire adventure. The shadow creature paused, confused by this unexpected response. Maya sang louder, putting all her human emotions into the song. Love for her mother, hope for the future, the bonds between family members that stretched across generations. The simple human belief that light was stronger than darkness. Something impossible began to happen. The shadow creature began to shrink. The red light in its eyes flickered and dimmed. For the first time in 1,000 years, it looked uncertain. "What are you doing?" it demanded, but its voice was weaker now. Maya understood. The shadows fed on negative emotions, but her lullaby carried something they had never encountered before. Pure, selfless love. The kind of emotion that created rather than destroyed. "I'm giving you something you've never had," Maya said, still singing. "I'm showing you what you've been fighting against all this time." The creature staggered backward, growing smaller and weaker with each note of Maya's song. But even as she gained the upper hand against this shadow, Maya could hear the battle raging above. Her guardians were still fighting the other escaped creatures. The temple shook with the force of combat. Time was running out. She needed to end this quickly and get back to help her forces above. The shadow creature made one last desperate attack, lunging toward Maya with claws extended. This time Maya was ready. Maya felt overwhelmed. Her whole life, she had been drawn to ancient places and old mysteries. Now she understood why. It was in her blood. "But there's something else you must know," the memory keeper said, and its voice became serious. "When you sang the awakening song, you did more than wake the guardians." "What do you mean?" "The temple has many levels. The guardians protect the upper chambers, but deeper below in the darkest parts of the temple, other things sleep, things that should never wake up." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. "What kind of things?" "The shadow creatures that destroyed my people. We captured some of them and locked them in prison chambers deep underground. Your song was so pure, so powerful, that it reached even those dark places." The temple began to shake slightly. Dust fell from the ceiling. Somewhere far below, Maya heard a sound like grinding stone. "The prison seals are weakening," the memory keeper warned. "The shadows are stirring. They remember the song of their ancient enemies and they want to escape." Maya looked at the guardians around her. They had turned their heads toward the floor, as if listening to sounds from below. "What do I do?" Maya asked, fear growing in her voice. "You must learn to control your power," the memory keeper said. "The guardians will teach you, but time is running short. If the shadow creatures escape, they will not stop with this world. They will spread across the galaxy again, destroying everything." The shaking grew stronger. Cracks appeared in some of the floor stones. Maya realized that her simple act of humming a lullaby had started something much bigger and more dangerous than she could have imagined. She was no longer just an archaeologist exploring ruins. She had become the key to an ancient war, and the enemy was waking up. Part 3. The test begins. The temple shook again, harder this time. Maya grabbed onto a stone pillar to keep from falling. Dust and small rocks fell from the ceiling as the sound of cracking stone echoed from deep below. "How long do we have?" Maya asked the memory keeper, her voice tight with fear. "The prison seals are old," the electronic voice replied. "They were meant to last forever, but your song has weakened them. Perhaps hours, perhaps days. We cannot know for sure." The tall guardian stepped closer to Maya. It pointed to a doorway she had not noticed before. The doorway glowed with soft blue light, and ancient symbols moved across its surface like living things. "The guardian wants you to follow," the memory keeper explained. "But first you must prove you are ready. The keepers built tests into this temple. Only someone with both keeper blood and human courage can pass them." Maya looked at the glowing doorway, then at the hundreds of guardians watching her. "What kind of tests?" "Tests that will awaken your true power. Tests that will show you how to command the guardians properly. Without this knowledge, you cannot face what lies below." Another shake ran through the temple. This time, Maya heard something else. A distant roaring sound, like angry voices calling from far away. "The shadows grow restless," the memory keeper said. "You must hurry." Maya took a deep breath and walked toward the glowing doorway. The tall guardian followed her, and she noticed that several other guardians had formed a circle around them, like protectors. As Maya stepped through the doorway, the world around her changed completely. She found herself standing in a vast room filled with floating platforms. Each platform held a different challenge. Some had puzzles made of light and shadow. Others had musical instruments that looked like nothing she had ever seen. A few platforms held what appeared to be weapons made of pure energy. "The first test," the memory keeper announced. "The test of understanding." One of the platforms moved closer to Maya. On it sat a cube covered in the same symbols she had seen throughout the temple. The symbols were moving, changing, creating new patterns every few seconds. "This is the keeper language," the memory keeper explained. "Your ancestors spoke it, but humans forgot it long ago. You must remember." Maya stared at the moving symbols. They meant nothing to her conscious mind, but something deeper inside her began to stir. She closed her eyes and let her instincts guide her. Slowly the symbols began to make sense, not with her human logic, but with something older. Something that came from her blood, her genetic memory. "Peace," she whispered, reading the first symbol. "Protection, hope." The cube stopped moving and began to glow brighter. Maya opened her eyes, amazed. "Well done," the memory keeper said. "The knowledge sleeps in your cells, waiting to be awakened." Now the second test. Another platform approached. This one held a strange musical instrument with strings made of light. When Maya touched one string, it made a sound like singing stars. "The test of harmony," the memory keeper announced. "You must learn to sing with the Guardian's frequency. This is how you will command them." Maya had always been good with music. Her mother had taught her to play guitar and piano, but this instrument was unlike anything human. She started slowly, trying different combinations of the light strings. Each note sent vibrations through the temple. She could feel the Guardians responding to the sounds, their stone bodies humming in harmony. Then Maya did something unexpected. She began to hum her mother's lullaby again, but this time she played along with the light instrument. The human melody mixed with the keeper frequencies, creating something beautiful and new. The Guardians around her began to move in perfect formation, like dancers following her music. Maya realized she was not just learning their language. She was improving it, adding human emotion to ancient keeper precision. "Remarkable," the memory keeper said, sounding surprised. "You're not just copying our ways. You are making them better." The third test was different. A platform appeared with what looked like a war scenario made of light. Maya saw tiny figures representing Guardians fighting against shadow creatures. But the Guardians were losing. "The test of strategy," the memory keeper announced. "How will you lead the Guardians against an enemy that destroyed our entire civilization?" Maya studied the light battlefield carefully. The shadow creatures were fast and deadly, but the Guardians were stronger and could work together. The problem was that the keepers had fought like keepers, logical, organized, predictable. But Maya was human too. She began moving the Guardian figures in new patterns. Instead of straight battle lines, she had them use guerrilla tactics. Instead of direct attacks, she used deception and surprise. She combined keeper strength with human creativity. The light simulation showed her strategy working. The Guardian figures began winning against the shadows, using tactics no pure keeper would have thought of. "Brilliant," the memory keeper said. "You think like neither human nor keeper alone. You're something new." As Maya completed each test, she felt changes happening inside her. Her connection to the Guardians grew stronger. She could sense their thoughts, their loyalty, their readiness to fight for her. But the final test was the hardest. A platform appeared holding a mirror made of liquid silver. When Maya looked into it, she saw herself but different. Her eyes glowed with blue light like the Guardians. Her hair had streaks of silver like the ancient keepers. "The test of acceptance," the memory keeper said softly. "Do you accept what you are? Do you accept what you must become?" Maya stared at her reflection. She thought about her old life as a simple archaeologist. She thought about returning to Earth, to safety, to the normal world she had always known. Then she thought about the shadow creatures stirring below. She thought about the galaxy they would destroy if no one stopped them. She thought about all the innocent people who would die if she walked away. "I accept," Maya said firmly. "I accept my heritage. I accept my responsibility." The mirror exploded into thousands of points of light that swirled around Maya and absorbed into her skin. She felt power flowing through her body, knowledge filling her mind and courage strengthening her heart. When the light faded, Maya had changed. She could feel the Guardian's thoughts as clearly as her own. She could sense the temple's structure, the prison seals below, and the growing anger of the trapped shadows. The tall Guardian approached her and knelt down, offering her a weapon made of light and stone. Maya took it and immediately knew how to use it. "The tests are complete," the memory keeper said with pride. "You are ready to face what comes next." But even as Maya felt stronger and more confident, the temple shook again. This time the sound from below was different. It was not just grinding stone anymore. It was the sound of something breaking free. "The seals," the memory keeper said urgently. "One of them has failed." Maya gripped her new weapon tighter. She was no longer just an archaeologist who had stumbled into an ancient mystery. She was a guardian now, with the power to command an army of stone protectors. But deep below them, in the darkest chambers of the temple, something that had waited 1,000 years for revenge was finally waking up. The real battle was about to begin. Maya wiped the sweat from her face as she stood before the massive stone doors of the ancient temple. The twin suns of planet Zarian burned hot above her head. She had traveled across 3 star systems to reach this forgotten place. "Are you sure about this, human?" asked Zek, her alien guide. His blue skin looked worried. "No one has entered the Temple of Silence for 1,000 years. Maya looked at the strange symbols carved into the stone. As an archaeologist, she had studied these marks for years. "I have to see what's inside, Zek. This could change everything we know about ancient history." Zek shook his head. "My people have rules about this place. Never make sounds inside. Never wake the sleeping ones. The old stories say terrible things happen to those who break the silence." "Stories," Maya said with a smile. "That's all they are. Just old fears passed down through generations." The alien guide stepped back as Maya pushed against the heavy doors. They moved slowly, making a deep grinding sound. Cold air rushed out from the darkness inside. "I will wait here," Zek said quickly. "If you are not back by sunset, I leave without you." Maya nodded and stepped into the temple. The doors closed behind her with a loud boom that echoed through the empty halls. She turned on her flashlight and looked around. The temple was beautiful beyond her imagination. Tall pillars reached up to a ceiling painted with stars and planets. Strange blue crystals in the walls gave off a soft light. The floor was made of smooth black stone that reflected her light like water. But what caught Maya's attention were the guardians. Everywhere she looked, she saw them. Tall stone figures standing against the walls. Some looked like warriors with armor and weapons. Others appeared to be scholars holding books or scrolls. Each guardian was different, but they all had their eyes closed, as if they were sleeping. Maya counted 20 guardians in the first room alone. "Incredible," she whispered, then quickly covered her mouth. The sound echoed strangely in the silence. She walked deeper into the temple, her footsteps soft on the stone floor. Room after room contained more sleeping guardians. Some were 8 feet tall. Others were smaller, like children. All of them stood perfectly still, covered in dust from centuries of waiting. Maya took photos with her camera, being careful to move quietly. She noticed that each guardian wore different symbols on their clothing. Some had suns, others had moons, and a few had strange spiral patterns she had never seen before. In the center of the temple, Maya found a great hall. The ceiling here was so high she could not see the top. Hundreds of guardians stood in perfect rows, like an army waiting for orders. The sight took her breath away. "What were you all protecting?" Maya asked softly. The silence felt heavy around her. She had been alone in tombs and ruins before, but this place felt different. It was as if the temple itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Maya sat down on the steps leading to a raised platform. She felt tired and lonely. The long journey to reach this place had been difficult. She missed her home on Earth. She missed her mother's voice calling her name. Without thinking, Maya began to hum. It was an old song her mother used to sing to help her sleep when she was a child. The melody was soft and gentle, full of love and comfort. She had hummed this lullaby in many lonely places during her travels. The sound of her voice filled the empty temple. The melody bounced off the walls and reached every corner of the great hall. Suddenly, something changed. A low vibrating sound came from the stone floor. Maya felt it through her feet first, then in her bones. She stopped humming and looked around in confusion. One by one, blue lights began to glow. The eyes of every guardian in the hall opened at the same time. Hundreds of pairs of glowing blue eyes turned to look directly at Maya. She gasped and jumped to her feet. Her heart pounded in her chest as fear rushed through her body. Then, with a sound like thunder, every guardian in the temple stood up straight. Maya heard the same sound coming from other rooms. Stone feet stepping down from their resting places. The entire temple was awakening. She stood frozen in terror as the guardians surrounded her. They did not move toward her or raise their weapons. They simply stood there, watching her with their bright blue eyes. The silence was broken forever. Maya tried to speak, but no words came out. She had done exactly what Zek had warned her not to do. She had awakened the sleeping guardians. But why weren't they attacking her? What did they want? The answer would change everything Maya thought she knew about humans, about the ancient past, and about her own destiny among the stars. Maya's hands shook as she stared at the hundreds of glowing blue eyes watching her. The guardians stood perfectly still, like statues that had suddenly come to life. She could hear her own heartbeat in the deadly silence. "Please," she whispered. "I didn't mean to wake you up." One of the guardians, taller than the others, stepped forward. Its stone feet made heavy sounds on the floor. Maya wanted to run, but her legs felt frozen with fear. The tall guardian stopped just 3 feet away from her. It looked down at Maya with eyes that seemed almost curious. Then it did something unexpected. It bowed its head slightly, like a greeting. Maya blinked in surprise. "You're not going to hurt me?" The guardian tilted its head as if listening to her voice. Then it raised one stone hand and pointed to a wall covered in ancient symbols. Suddenly, the symbols began to glow with the same blue light as the guardian's eyes. The wall started to change, showing moving pictures like a video screen. Maya watched in amazement as the story of this place unfolded before her. She saw a race of tall, peaceful beings with pale skin and silver hair. They built beautiful cities among the stars and shared knowledge across the galaxy. These were the Keepers, the original builders of the temple. The Keepers, Maya breathed. She had read about them in old texts, but most scientists thought they were just myths. The wall showed more images. The Keepers created the Stone Guardians to protect their most precious treasures. They programmed the Guardians with special songs, frequencies that could wake them up or put them to sleep. But then, the images turned dark. Maya saw terrible shadow creatures attacking Keeper worlds. The shadows destroyed everything they touched, consuming entire planets. The Keepers fought bravely, but they were losing the war. In desperation, the last Keepers hid their greatest secrets in temples like this one. They made the Guardians sleep and wait for someone special to wake them up. Someone who could sing the ancient songs. The wall went dark. Maya stood there trying to understand what she had seen. "But I'm just human," she said to the tall guardian. "I'm not a keeper. How can I wake you up?" The temple suddenly filled with a new sound. A gentle electronic voice spoke from everywhere at once. "Welcome, child of the distant stars," the voice said. "I am the memory keeper, the last consciousness of my people." Maya looked around wildly. "Who's speaking? Where are you?" "I am the temple's mind," the voice explained. "I have been waiting for 1,000 years for someone like you to come." "Someone like me?" "I don't understand." The memory keeper's voice grew warmer. "Tell me, young one, where did you learn the song you sang?" "My mother taught it to me," Maya said. "It's just a simple lullaby from Earth. She used to sing it to help me sleep." The memory keeper said with what sounded like joy. "Just as we hoped. The song has traveled far indeed." The wall lit up again, showing new images. Maya saw early humans living in caves, but some of them had the same silver hair as the Keepers. The images showed these special humans spreading across Earth, having children, and passing down their songs through generations. "Long ago, some of my people crashed on your world," the memory keeper explained. "They could not return to the stars, so they lived among your ancestors. Their children carried both human and Keeper blood." Maya's eyes grew wide. "You mean some humans are part Keeper?" "Yes. The ability to sing our ancient frequencies was passed down through family lines. Your mother's lullaby is actually a Keeper command song, changed over thousands of years but still powerful." Maya thought about her mother, her grandmother, and all the women in her family who had sung that same lullaby. "So that's why the Guardians woke up when I hummed it?" "Exactly. Your voice carries the genetic memory of the Keepers. You can control the Guardians because you are one of their descendants." The tall Guardian near Maya bowed deeper, and all the other Guardians did the same. They were showing respect to her Keeper heritage.